And I have no like clubs lose their colors all the time. It's not a sin to get your colors taken or lost or beat up. It's just a national president can't do that. A national president can't turn over colors and can't agree to it, none of that shit. A national president has to be a one percenter. He's got to have a one percenter mentality in this respect. You got national on your chest, you got to be willing to die for the club. Bottom line. You got president on your chest, you got to be willing to die for the chapter. Bottom line. You don't get to be a 99 percenter. You got to be 1% tough. You got to be 1% strong. You got to be what you think a 1% is. If you don't even know none, you got to go watch some TV or something and be what you think a 1% is. That's what you got to be. You got to be above reproach, above the fray. Like when I was in the Navy, I was in the personnel reliability program because I was a nuclear weapons dude. I was fire control. I shot the nuclear weapon. I pressed a button. Actually, it was a switch. It kind of worked like this. You just took it one way, and that prepped it. So it was in a center position. You took it one way, that prepped it, and then you moved it past the center to the other place, and that shot it. So, and so they would say, and only one person could say the word fire, and that was the guy, that was the captain. He would say fire, and then the weapons officer would say shoot. I would say shoot I. Bang! It was gone. And the guy in the torpedo room was the guy that actually pulled the lever to make it happen. Not one man can't make that. It's a whole group of folks. Oh, and there was also a key that would be put in. This was 30 years ago. It's hard for me to remember it all, but you had to have a key to turn it on. The key came from like the weapons. Like there's a whole group of people, not this whole stuff on TV where one man shoots a nuclear weapon. That does not happen. There's an agreement, a protocol that's followed. So if you're in the PRP program, personnel reliability program, you're somebody, I don't know if they still have that program, but they had it when I was in. Personnel reliability program was for us nuclear people, and they checked every effing thing about our lives. You couldn't have bad credit. You could have bad credit, but you couldn't really have bad credit. Or you owed people and your bank accounts were bouncing all over the place. You can't be in the PRP program like that. Because they can't have somebody that would offer you some money, and now you're talking about nuclear secrets. So they're watching your ass. You can't be high. You can't get a DUI. One DUI, you're out of the Navy at that time. If you were in the submarine Navy. On the surface Navy, you might be able to get 2 or 3 of them, but in the submarine Navy, one DUI, you didn't have a job anymore. You screwed up your credit, they kicked you out of the PRP program and sent you to a different rate across the country doing something else, out to sea somewhere. You were no longer a fire control technician. You were no longer one of those people. So I learned from an early age that the kind of job I had required, I couldn't get a DUI. You can't handle nuclear weapons no more, bro. You're untrustworthy. I couldn't get popped on a piss test. Well, I just had a little marijuana. No, well, not in mess with our, not in mess with our nuclear weapons. You can't, bro. Tell you what, you can go be a boiler tech somewhere in the Navy, but you're not effing with these nuclear weapons. So I learned how to be a president, even though I wasn't a president. I learned that you are expected because of this position and this high amount of responsibility we put on your ass. You're expected to be the best of the best. You don't get to have a bad moment and beat your wife. You don't get to have a bad moment and beat your children. You got to be well adjusted with good, sound judgment and moral clarity. And we decide who the moral clarity is, not you. You don't get to be a subversive. You don't get to write shit on the internet negative to the Navy and negative to America and also be in the personnel reliability program, handling our nuclear weapons. The fuck out of here. You don't get the freedoms and protection that the rest of the American citizens get because you belong to us and you handle our nuclear weapons, bro. So fly that patriotic flag, asshole, or get the hell out. Get your life together or get the hell out. Get your shit together in a package or get the hell out. And that's what a president has to be. A president has to be that. A president has to be that. That's what we want our cops to be. You don't get to get pissed off and throw Tyreek Hill on the ground because you're mad because he's an asshole. He's an asshole. You're a professional. You don't get to shoot a woman to death because she said, I rebuke you, Satan. You're mad and you pop a few rounds in her. We don't expect that from our police officers. Having had a position of responsibility in the United States military taught me how to be a president in a motorcycle club. Watching my commanding officer on my ship, watching Commander Williams never took no shit, never was off duty, never was off beat, never was off cue, never was anything but about the mission of the Navy, the mission of the submarine. Always on point.